Good morning. How is everybody today? Tuesday, talking tarot with Lisa. That's me. I'm so excited about today. This is a really fun topic for me and such a core element to my business and my life and manifesting. So, this is going to be great. We're going to be talking about I is for imagine because we are doing a four-part series over the next 4 weeks, which there's three left since last week we did R. R is for release. So RISE, Rise, is my 90-day program that starts in March. I know it's kind of crazy to think about launching a program in March, but you know what? It's filling up. So I love this idea of people planning ahead because that's exactly in some ways what imagination is. It's using your mind to think about what it is that you want and see it. So we're going to dive into like some of the nitty-gritties of imagination and the importance of it, and it's actually, I think, a really fun topic. So if you're here joining me, good morning. I'm Lisa Mehta from Metamorfize.com, and this is Tuesday Talking Tarot. I go live every Tuesday and I talk about one word. That's it. One word and the power and the impact that it has on our minds, on our life, and really the importance of taking a moment to ask yourself, what is that definition for you, to make sure that you're not bringing over a program from the past, something that isn't yours or something that that you've outgrown. So you can really be a mindful, intentional thinker, decision maker, creator. All right. So everything that I do here, and if you're just joining me, say good morning, say what's up. We're going to be talking about your relationship with imagination. And if you're, what was I going to say? Yeah, we're going to be doing a tarot reading at the end. I'm working with the animal deck these days. This is an amazing. They are medicine cards. I love using these to really support thoughts around how animal behavior and maneuvering in nature can be a teacher to us humans. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. All right, here we go. Imagine. Okay, so as I was saying, imagining is the I inside of my Rise program. Now, the Rise program and manifesting and just learning how you uniquely change is really at the core of everything that I do. The science of change, which is my process, it supports you to really get in touch with the fact that you are the creator of your life and everything is created twice. So first, in your mind, as an idea, this cup, this mug, someone sat there and thought of it. The phone and computer that I'm coming live to you on, that was created in someone's mind first. And then through aligned action, did it come into my hand here as an actual item. So when it comes to imagination, every single thing in our world was imagined first. What was this quote I just heard from Einstein? Imagination is more important than knowledge, which I want to get to. That's actually a little outside of the current thought, but there's so many good quotes. Bob Proctor, he talks a lot about imagination because, he's one of my mentors. He's one of the ones that was really, oh, what up, Jamal? Just saw the text in the middle of this, but yeah. Bob Proctor is a huge influence on me. And actually just this morning, I'm going to put the link to what I listened to this morning from him because it was really a great reminder of how important using our imagination is. And I really love what he said. In essence, children, they're so busy with their imagination, building things in their mind because everything is so new. And then what happens, unfortunately, is we get into structures like organized schools and things like this where people are told stop daydreaming or you're not paying attention. And these things are put down, and what happens is our imagination starts to get stifled, and it's really something we need to be using actively every day as a form of manifesting, as a form of creation, because oh, I mean, I love this concept. Like, we can use our imagination to go into the future and pull it into our present. Like, that's pretty cool. And also, that's time bending, that's time travel. You're using your mind to go into the future and bring it into your present. It's really powerful. So, imagination, I was just listening this morning to like all of these videos and like audios on YouTube, and man, like athletes, successful people, all of them have really trained themselves to use their imagination to create and stay consistent with that creation. And one of the things that's super important, because we can all daydream or all create or use our imagination for one day, maybe 2 days, maybe even a week. But the thing is that life will always throw obstacles at you. So the thing is, can you stay to your dream? Can you stay to your vision, even inside of the waves of life? And don't lose hold of the dream, of the vision, of the imagination. And so when you're using your imagination, it's so important that you not just, let's say you're in a time where things don't feel good or don't look good. You can't use your results around you at that time to determine what's possible. Oh, what did I read this morning? Oh, I am so inspired by so many things. Okay, first of all, let's just say that our imagination is the most underused resource that we have. And if there's anything you take from this video today, is my invitation to you to use your imagination and start asking yourself maybe what feels like hard questions, but what is it that you truly want? I found in my own journey that actually became one of the hardest questions. I was almost like avoiding using my mind to do that. The morning is one of the most valuable times to set forth your vision, to spend that 5 minutes or more a day to create, to set your mind in the motion, in the direction of what you say you want for yourself. Because why? Everything is created twice. You must see it in your mind. And if you can see it in your mind, you can create it in your life. So, we, unlike animals, even though I'm going to do the animal deck today, I did think about this. Humans have the highest faculties, as Bob Proctor calls them, the highest faculties. Imagination is one of them. We have perception, will, memory, intuition, reasoning, and imagination, all at our fingertips to use for creation purposes. Oh, hey everyone, Nancy, Tsunami, welcome, welcome. Mac, fish tacos usually are what I manifest. Yeah, I've been manifesting you making me some fish tacos. I'm imagining how amazing they taste. Mac, whatever you make for me is going to be delightful, delectable, and delicious. Oh, another thing I love that Bob Proctor said, he said, imagination is your greatest nation in the world. Like, imagine the world in your mind that you live in, that nation, the imagination. It's the greatest all-encompassing world that you have at your temple, literally every single day. So, logic will get you from point A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. And I think that is like such a powerful statement. Logic will take you from point A to B, which is needed. They're all needed. They're all valuable points. But imagination will take you anywhere. And no one is limited in their imagination. The only limitation that happened is if you were growing up and your imagination was told, like I said, don't daydream, or like you need to get out of your mind. You're the whole ADD movement. Like you're just, that's a different thing. But like everyone has the ability to be the creator in their mind. Can you give yourself that permission to sit in that, what I'm calling the spaces in between, the silence, the unknown, the void? There's this card in the Osho deck. It's called the unknown. It's called nothingness, which is basically, it's a black card. And most people, when they get it, they're like, oh my God, what does that mean? It's infinite possibilities. And when we really, really get down to it, I think our fears come from the creation inside of the infinite possibilities. And so we start to limit ourselves to what we know, or we limit ourselves to the programming that we have, when really it's about expansion. It's about giving yourself that space and that permission to be in the unknown, in that void, in that dark space of possibilities, because it is in the dark that we begin to see. So morning meditation is something very, very, very important. And actually, my practice is really important to me right now. I've been actually having at least an hour practice of different meditations. And I have to tell you, there's some really amazing, powerful things that are coming through, including, I kept hearing this word ripple. I just kept hearing the word ripple, this ripple out effect, because so much of what I talk about with mind mastery is like what you think about basically has this ripple out effect, which is kind of what imagination is. If you can continue to nourish and feed the vision, because your vision is counting on you. If you continue to feed it, you're ultimately bringing energy to it. And energy is vibration. And the way that we humans feel vibration is through feeling. So there's this ripple out effect that happens. And so this morning, so I'm telling you a little story here, because this morning I had been hearing ripple, and I told my my assistant, or the woman I work with, my brand collaborator, she's more than an assistant. I said to her, I was like, I keep on having this idea of some program I want to create called Ripple, or something in my business called Ripple. I love the idea of the visual, dropping like a little water and it goes. And actually this weekend, another woman told me that during ceremony, the water bearer who is pouring the water out, I have to ask her something about the role of the water bearer the overflow, giving from the overflow. Again, ripple. Anyway, my point is, this morning, as I was doing this research, I realized that ripple is going to be something I'm creating for all of you. Stay tuned. This is a total sidetrack. Around morning routines. I have really worked with so many morning practices that I'd love to share, and maybe we'll do a challenge. I don't know. What do you all want around the morning routine? How can I serve you? If let's say we're working backwards, we're using our imaginations right now. That's the other thing about reverse engineering. Your imagination can create the big. Don't worry about the how. How are you going to do it? Create it first in your mind. And then you ask, here's a manifesting hack. For that to happen, what needs to happen? And this is the logical part of things. When I said logic helps you get from A to B, but imagination takes you everywhere and anywhere. So first create the bigness of it, and don't let yourself feel intimidated by how big your mind. That's beautiful. And then, yes, there is a logical thing of, how do I get there? Okay, you got to take action, right? You're going to go from point A to point B by asking yourself, for that to happen, what needs to happen? And you're going to drill it down. Okay, I'm talking about this topic today because in the RISE program, which is, by the way, it's a 90-day program, and 8 weeks of it is a curriculum where we're basically working on, first of all, getting clear about what is your vision. You get the opportunity to look deeply into an inventory of your life. What is your priority? Because you have to get clear on what your priority is so that you can begin to see the vastness of it, all the little nuances, and use your mind. We do so many. There's a meditation that I lead you through every week. You get a training on the topic, and the curriculum is on my website, by the way, metamorfize.com/rise. And you get group coaching, so we can all talk about what could possibly be any of the stories that you might have, any of the old programming that you might be bringing with you from the past that is holding you back from making this vision, this imagination, this beautiful creation that you have in your mind a reality. And I'm telling you, I'm going to put these links that I was listening to. These people were pumping me up. These coaches, these athletes, these billionaires, they were like, they were just like, this is what they do every morning. They pump their mind. I'm going to share my morning motivation. It's a 2-minute listen, and it is telling you and reminding you every day, you could do it. And you have to align your mind. Oh my God, listen to me now. I'm like, I sound like them. It's funny how it just, I can feel like you just want to pump everyone up. Come on, let's get on board. Let's do this, you know? And I feel myself having, interestingly, a renewed, like, yeah, you know, life is going to throw the obstacles, but you just got to get back up and keep going and teach yourself to learn. It's not that you fall. In fact, prepare for the fall. The fall is a part of the growth. Because it is not that you fall, it is that you train yourself to get back up. Okay, back to imagination. You know what? When I was young, all I remember saying when someone was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was two things. I was always like, I want to be a dermatologist. I was a little obsessed with skin. But then I realized I don't really want to touch other people's. And I always said I wanted to be a motivational speaker. And I ended up, the way that translated at the time, before this, was being the captain of all my sports teams. I was Division III softball. I got a scholarship for field hockey in college. I was a star athlete, and I was always the captain. So there was always like, come on, everyone, we can do this. All right, let's imagine ourselves winning. Let's see the ball going into the net. Like, let's see ourselves getting a home run. And I guess there's no coincidences, but how to see myself here. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional, but it's like to see myself now just doing this work and really like watching how all my stuff is infused with motivation and manifesting. And at one point I was branding myself as an encouraged mentor. And, you know, the people that work with me always say that I'm like just a really consistent cheerleader, and, you know, I give great pep talks, and I guess it just comes from that background. So it's fun to see how the path really does connect, you know? And on that note, everyone sees me doing a TED Talk, and I'm the one that's like, come on, Lisa, let's see it, you know? Let's do it. But I guess, you know, fear. I have fear around it. It's because it's the next level. So you all are my witness on that one. It's coming. And these are all practice. Every time I show up for these videos is basically a practice for the bigger stage. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, a favorite quote of mine. Let me check these comments. A really favorite quote of mine is, or not a quote, but first of all, I also want to say how much we use imagination in the wrong, to not serve us. You know, how much we use it to worry. Worrying is basically praying for what you don't want. Worrying is using your imagination to create what you don't want. Constantly seeing the problems in your life, constantly energizing and charging up what's not working, is ultimately using your imagination to create what you don't want. It's really that simple, yet we don't really get on board with that on a daily basis because we get sucked in to the feeling that we can't get out of feeling stuck, or we think we can't stop these thoughts, but you can stop them. And actually part of Rise is going to be teaching you the mechanics of your mind, why you think you can't stop it. And if you've heard my work, it's all about that needle on the record, the way that the brain receptors are firing, because where you're firing, you're wiring. So that worry that you are saying into yourself, your quiet worry every day, you're basically bonding that thought into a very strong electrical current in your brain. So of course you're going to think that it's a dominating thought, but it can be broken. It can shift and be rewired and reframed into a new thought. And using your imagination is one of the best ways to begin the rewiring, to allow yourself to flow into another space, to see. Here's a great practice. Write out what an ideal day would look like and feel like, starting at what time do you wake up? Who's with you? Ideal. See if you can even. I do this on my lot. All people who work with me will go through this ideal day experience, and it amazes me how limited we keep ourselves to what we do already. Thinking when I tell you ideal means how big can you dream, but or give yourself like, okay, 6 months out, what would be an ideal day for me now? It's incredible the way that your mind can hold you back and can be your biggest resource. So that's why people make vision boards, because you're imagining it, but you're looking at it every day. I also teach something called simulation, which is like if you imagine yourself having a beach house like I do, then I spend more time at the beach. Or saw myself in Mexico, so I started going to Mexican restaurants. I started, looking at more things Mexico related. Like, you want to bring whatever your new reality, your future reality, into your current. That's what your imagination does. It uses your mind to go into the future to bring it into the present moment. Your mind doesn't know the difference between in those time frames. It doesn't. So, waking up every day and journaling and doing the I'm so happy and grateful cards that we also do in the Rise program and I teach regularly. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a beach house in Mexico that is big enough for a 8-person retreat that I'm going to be doing. I mean, that hasn't happened yet, but I'm calling it into existence. All right. Yeah, because where your energy goes, your life flows. So that's why you got to think about what you think about. That's a song that I wrote because what are you thinking about? Literally, what the heck are you waking up and thinking about? Where are you going? See it in your mind. Create it first there. And then you also start to watch how opportunities start to align with that. It does require taking a risk sometimes to really go out of your comfort zone, but it's a muscle to use it. And successful people have learned how to imagine and then keep moving. They learn that there's no such thing as no. There's just next. Keep going, keep calling, fall, get back up, keep imagining, stay in tune with the vision. Thank you, Jamal, for saying that I'm an excellent TED talker. Things like stress. When you're feeling stressed out, it's going to limit your ability to use this tool, this resource, this faculty, because basically stress is going to start to create all of the ways that it can't work, and how stress is a contraction. Imagination is an expansion. So also breath work, right? Breathing, opening up to the possibilities, exhaling, breathing it into existence, inhaling, open up, expanding, breathing in more than you can even take in, sipping a little more, and exhale it out. Every morning you see it, imagine it, and then good morning, Liz. Breathing into your imagination, the bigness of everything, and breathing it out, speaking it out into existence, which is step 2 I wanted to bring up. So not only do you use your imagination, which is this invisible space in your mind, to create as the first step of creation, the second step is bringing it out into the world around you. So using your words as spells, speak it into existence. Do you know how many times? Actually, this is a joke with my friends. The way I manifest is like to talk about things literally super matter of factly as if they're happened, even though they haven't. And actually, recently, a friend of mine was like, I can't keep up. You're always changing your mind. You're always like you were going to go to Mexico. Now you're going to go to Colorado. Then you're going to go to California. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's how I'm creating. I put it out there and then I watch it unfold and adjust. It's all the same pathway. So don't get too tied to what I'm saying in that moment until I tell you I made a final decision. But I use people in my life to magnify my imagination and my vision that I'm cultivating. Okay. Here we go. Let me see. I talked about that. talked about what do you really want? How do you really want to live? You know, this is actually the hardest part sometimes, is to give yourself that permission. And if that does feel hard, which it did for me for a long time, just start small. And also to see what it is, you must know what it isn't. So sometimes if you don't really know what you want, tune into what you don't want, because usually we're pretty clear about that, because that's what we're spending our time complaining about. And then to see what it isn't, you start to ask yourself, well, I like me, I caught myself constantly complaining about not wanting to be in my New York apartment. I'm like, it's too small, it's too small, it's too small, it's too, like for years, seriously. So it's like, okay, stop saying that and realize that what you're really saying is that you want to start to manifest a bigger space. And that's actually how Mexico came into my life. I was like, let me start there. Go for 3 or 4 months and begin this process of what does it feel like to live in expansion? What does it feel like to live by the beach? What does it feel like to have that lifestyle? Poof, 2nd year in a row now, and I'm going to be in Mexico. And I'm happy to say that my private retreats are sold out, which is like amazing, which also came to me in a vision in my morning meditation, where I was going to just go and spend that 3 or 4 months there by myself. And one day I heard, just offer some time to people and see what happens. This is why very, very, very important to sit silently with yourself every morning. Very, very important. Okay, again, just to repeat it because I thought it was awesome, that imagi-nation is the greatest nation in the world, because you live inside of this beautiful space. It's invisible to others, but it is wildly potent and powerful. And okay, yeah, that's about what I wanted to say about this, is that this is where your power and your potential lie. RISE, rise. So releasing the things that don't work. That's what we talked about last week, whether it's thoughts or programs or people, making room, and then using this imagination space to start to create your wildest dreams. Not once. You must cultivate it on a regular basis. It's just like anything else. It's a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. All right, let's do it. Let's do these cards. Thank you for being here. Let me check. Yes, kids are always imagined, and they're so happy. Yeah, and that's the other thing. It feels really good. TED Talk. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Now I feel like y'all are 13. Got you. Yes. What numbers do you want, everyone, for cards? If you're here joining, if your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. Exactly. I love that. Okay, so here we go. These are the animal cards. And we've got Liz at 13. Here you go. What's your takeaway? What's something that I might have said that you're taking away, or anything about how about this? Do you like to imagine? Is that something that you like doing? When do you do it? How do you do it? Do you like to imagine, using your imagination? The other thing is that worrying is praying for what you don't want, and how we use our imagination against us. That's another thing that we really need to keep in mind. You got to check yourself. Seriously, you got to check yourself. You really need to get conscious enough about what are you thinking about. It's almost like you need the quiet, stillness, and silence to be able to hear what are you doing in here. Do you know that I really have trained myself in moments of even panic? I like literally have go-to sentences of, well, for a while it was like, I love and accept myself exactly as I am today. And I would just like click myself out of something. Yeah. And oh, Liz, maybe the wants are switching as an unfolding. It's almost like you set something in motion. That's what I was saying about what I do, is like I set something into motion, and I'm like, and then it unfolds, and it's not that it didn't happen. It's that it transforms and changes, like shift shapes itself. Like, I know it's kind of crazy because at first you think like, well, if I'm planting an apple seed, I want an apple tree. And maybe that's a different analogy, but I think that that concept will get us stuck in the idea that this is the beauty of imagination world. In imagination nation, you can plant an apple seed and get a pomegranate, because in this land anything is possible. And the what we can't see in the moment with the limited thinking is, how did an apple seed get to a pomegranate? But it can, because what if you still grew an apple tree and someone handed you a pomegranate, so infinite possibilities, pure potentiality, the abundance of the resources that are out there. And alignment is always beckoning you. You are being called forward towards your vision. And that's why your vision is counting on you. The clearer you get with your vision, the clearer you get with not only what it looks like, but how does it feel to be in it, the more you can catch the tiny little clues. One showed up last week. It was crazy. I have been searching. I know I said I would do the cards, right? Last story. I need a facial. Told you I like skin. I desire a facial, and I'm like in DC and I don't actually know facialists here. And I've been like facial. I made it out of, no, I'm just kidding. And anyway, my point is, through a very random dot connecting, I ended up on a call with a girl who actually wanted to go to the Mexico retreat. Turns out to be a woman who does facials, and we have that set up. It came to me. And I was like, I told her, I was like, this is not a coincidence. I start to really see the dots and how they connect. All right, here we go. Number 13, Liz, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Boom. The bat. And here, Mindy wanted 3. I'm just going to do that before I forget. Okay, the bat. Number 42. Bat energy. I wonder. Well, first of all, bats can't see. Sonar. Or, right? No. Sonar? Do bats run sonar? I know they're the freaking frequencies. Bats are high frequency animals, constantly feeling the pulses, how they literally adjust themselves to where they are. Incredible, right? Wow. Bat. Rebirth. Liz, rebirth. The basic idea of ancient initiations was to break down all the former notions of self that were held by the shaman to be. This could entail, tests of strength, psychic ability. And then the ritual is very similar to the night of fear practiced by natives of Turtle Island. Basically, again, darkness and the sounds of animals. I jumped ahead. The bat embraces the idea of a shamanic death. The ritual death of the healer is seeped in secrets and highly involved initiation rites. It symbolizes symbolic death to initiate the old ways of life and personal identity. Well, there you go, because imagination is allowing yourself to create a new identity. Last week we talked about, who am I without? Who are you without that substance, that thing that you're addicted to, attached to, the toxic person, the apartment, the house, the whatever? Because that's an identity. I also shared a very vulnerable thing last week about how my hair was falling out, which, by the way, I want to report, it's not falling out anymore. We're on the mend. We're on the grow back. We're on the rebirth. Yay! So my big locks are coming soon. But that was an identity thing. And I realized how much of my identity was wrapped up into something. I really had to check myself and be like, you are not your hair. And at the same time, how can I let go of that, that death of someone who's concerned about that, and rebirth myself? So what is dying? What needs to be reborn, Liz? Like, what are you letting go of that is holding you back? And if that isn't where you want to focus your energy, just use your imagination and create what's next. So many times I tell my clients, there is a time and a place, and we do this in the Rise program. It's the very first thing we do. But there is a time and a place to honor where you've come from. Of course, you zip off that skin and you still honor everything that's happened before you and all of the generations that helped you get here. And there's a moment. You must just let that part of your life go and start focusing on where you're going. Where am I going? What is it? What do I desire? How do I want to feel? All right? Batman. You're Batwoman. Mindy, 48. Wild Boar. Interesting. Wild Boar, 11. Jamal, you're next. Wild Boar. I feel like, no, you didn't get this last time. Ooh, Confrontation. Interesting. Well, I'm sure you can bring that meaning in your life with knowing a little bit of what's going on in your life, Mindy. And also, confrontation will be what our old identity and our new identity might come to a moment of, when you have that moment when you're in negotiation to let go of the old self. And the new self, the new vision, the bigger vision is beckoning you. But of course, that space in between. That's my new thing. I think I might make a song called The Space in Between. The space in between is the necessary passageway. It's the unknown. It's the void. It's what we all avoid. It is needed. It can be the tiniest little step and feel like the most gigantic chasm of all times. And because we avoid that space in between an old self and a new self, or letting go of something, surrendering and creating something new, because we avoid it, we stay in our familiar. So imagination can pull us forward, but there's still this tiny little space. And in that space, we can have confrontation. We can start to feel tension, and we can also... There is a song called The Space Between. No way. Send it to me. We can have this confrontation with ourselves, and it usually shows up in the form of resistance. And again, another thing we learn in the Rise program is to look at your resistance cycle. How do you uniquely move through resistance? How does resistance show up in your life? What are the things you say to yourself when you have resistance? It's very important for you to learn how to negotiate with yourself when you have resistance. Mine shows up when I have to go to the gym every single day. And you know what? When I finally realized that conversation wasn't ever going to go away, I started to manage the conversation versus wait for it to change. No, you know what? I'm one of those people, even though I love being at the gym and I can't wait for that feeling after, that's my little space between going from this moment of sitting here to getting my shoes on. That's my space between. And it is impossible sometimes. All right. So interesting. Wild Boar. All right. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is my number also. Raven. The Raven. Oh, The Space Between is a Dave Matthews song. Oh my God, of course. I can't wait. Thank you so much for that reminder. And here you go, Raven. 16. So we have 2 flying animals and a very grounded wild boar today. And I bring that up because I often think animals that are high up, like birds, have this ability to see, this bird's eye view thing. For anyone that's joining me that wants a card, you can just give a number and I will pick a card for you. I'm checking. Yeah, Raven. Let's see, 16. So the bird's eye view gives you possibilities. It widens your ability to see the landscape below. And that's what also perspective shifting and imagination. Perspective shifting is week 3 in the Rise program. It's that important. Ooh, Jamal, Raven, magic. Your imagination is your magic. That is for sure. Throughout time, Raven have carried the medicine of magic. This has been true in many cultures across the planets. It is sacred in the medicine ways to honor Raven as the bringer of magic. If the magic is bad medicine, the carrier may be honored out of fear rather than out of respect. Those who fear Raven may do so because they have been dabbling in areas in which they had no knowledge, and a spell may be backfired on them. You know, the other thing about imagination is that it's the beginning of the spell, and using your words. Hi, Josephine. If you'd like a card, I'm doing tarot reading with the animal deck right now. I'm just reading this one, Raven 16. So in native teachings, the color black means many things, but it does not mean evil. Black can mean the seeking of answers, the void, or the road of the spiritual or non-physical. That's exactly what I was saying. It means the space in between, the void. It's just the space. It's not negative. So, speaks of the magic of darkness and a changeability of form and shape that brings an awakening to the process. Raven is the guardian of ceremonial magic. Raven is the messenger that carries all energy flows of the ceremonial magic between the ceremony itself and the intended destination, which is exactly what I'm saying, is that our mind is this invisible creation and then we bring it into reality. So it's almost like the raven is the messenger of your imagination into reality through action. Number 8, got you, girl. All right, sweet. That was awesome. Raven energy, magic. I love that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. Turkey, another bird. We got some birds going today. And gobble, gobble. We just had that. 31. And also, Josephine, we're talking about imagination today. So I'm relating whatever cards we pick to imagination and the importance of our imagination, because we're talking about my 90-day program called Rise. Rise is release, imagine, and then next week we talk about share and evolve. So here we go, 31. The turkey. The turkey is about giveaway. Turkey is actually thought to be the giveaway eagle or south eagle of many native peoples. Turkey was the medicine of many saints and mystics. Celebrate if you have turkey medicine. Your virtues are many. You have transcended yourself. You act and react on behalf of others. You aspire to help those who need help. This is not out of some sense of self-righteous moralism or religious guilt. Help and sustenance are given by turkey out of the realization that all life is sacred. Wow, that's a beautiful attribute to have, where you basically are giving from the overflow, that you are just seeing the need and give. Turkey medicine rests in true ego, in enlightenment. Doing unto others and feeling the people is the message of all true spiritual systems. And how we relate that to our imagination is, of course, it's like using your imagination to have the abundance of giving to others, and you will give to yourself. It's almost like what you put out there is what you get back. That's science, energy, energetic flow, the law of polarity. Okay, I think that's all of the numbers for today. We got 13. Yes, good morning, everybody. Hi, Antonio, if you're still here. Let's see. All right, so imagination. So if you are interested in the Rise program, which starts in March, by the way, but as I was saying, it's very important that you use your mind to imagine forward where you want to be, what you want to do, and do you want to be in a group of really awesome, high frequency people who are using their mind. Like this group is going to be cultivating an energy of manifesting. We are going to be a group that is sharing, using voice and imagination and vision and your mind power and your meditation power to cultivate. I mean, it's 90 days, that's 3 months. The last month we do is my 30 Days to Rise program, which is basically putting it all into action. For 5 minutes a day, you take action and you rev up the engine. You know, we're going to be almost like we're clearing out the mind, and then we're going to be putting into it what the good stuff, and then we're going to rev up the engine, and then we're going to take action, and you're going to watch the unfolding. I can't tell you how many people from this is my 3rd year doing it. It's we use the energy of spring. It's an incredible program. And how many of the people who have done it tell me how they watch the ripple, there it is again, the ripple effect months later, because we put so much into motion. It's not overwhelming though, because it's bite sized and we just flowing and you're just creating. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful program. It really, and I love it because as you rise, I rise. We rise together. And every time I teach this work, and this year I'm putting a little spin to it, so it's going to be slightly different from last year because I've been really working with the chakra system, and the Shift Network has asked me to create. I'm celebrating that. The Shift Network's big network asked me to create a 7-week course. So I'm actually merging the Rise curriculum with the chakra curriculum, and I'll be infusing a lot of that into the new Rise program. So metamorfize.com/rise if you'd like to learn more, if you want to have a call with me to see if that's right for you. I would love to do that. We also work with the Osho Tarot deck, and I gift you a deck, so you'll be receiving that as a welcome gift. And you learn how to work with that particular deck as a form of growth. And it's also very powerful, and we do it as a group. It's a group program. I only have spots for 14 people, and we've got about 7 people in, so we're halfway there, and it starts in March, so that's pretty good. And that's it. So this is Lisa signing off and reminding you to keep imagining and dream big in your mind and be the creator of your life. Metamorfize.com. See you later. Bye.